Kylie, we got Randy on the line. What do you want to ask?
How do you handle due diligence when it comes to finding properties?
Due diligence is obviously specific to each property, right? And I think the comment I would send, first of all, is you want to rely and make sure you have before you ever get the LOI out or the PSAs obviously written, is to make sure you have a great property management company that you're comfortable with, and you're going to rely heavily upon them to help you get the due diligence done. I try to have them bring in the vendors, the roofers, the HVAC, the electrical, the plumbing people, to somebody they're going to be working with or somebody they recommend. They're obviously going to do the lease audit on a per unit basis. And then depending upon what the specific one is, if we're going to have contractors come in to look at repairs or renovations, we're going to do renovations. If we know we're going to build carports or something like that, that we're certainly going to have that out there as soon as possible. And so, yeah, you want to do every unit for sure. Yeah. You want to walk every unit. You want to make sure you have somebody get up on the roofs, and at a bare bones minimum. You want to make sure you have somebody scope the plumbing lines.
I'm Brian Briscoe, host of the Diary of an Apartment Investor podcast. And this podcast is different than everything else out there. I bring together a new and an experienced investor on each episode, and I let the aspiring investor ask the questions that they need answered. So if you're an aspiring investor yourself, you probably will have the exact same questions. Now, before we get to this episode, make sure you hit the subscribe button below and that little bell to make sure you get notified every time we post a new episode. And now, enjoy the show. Welcome to the Diary of an Apartment Investor podcast. I'm your host, Brian Briscoe with Streamline Capital. Very excited for today's show. We've got two amazing guests on the line with us. We have Randy, and I'm going to try to say it right, Langenderfer with us. Did I do that?
Very good, my friend.
Awesome. All right. He's our experienced investor, and incidentally, second-time guest. He was with us 2.5 years ago. Episode 129, if you guys want to dig down in the archives and pull that one up. And we also have Kylie Egan, first-time guest and aspiring investor. So guys, how's it going today?
Wonderful.
Doing well. Excited to be here, Brian. Thanks for the invitation.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. No worries. We're going to have a little bit of fun, So Randy, we're going to single you out first and talk a little bit. So how have things been going since, I don't know, May of 2021 when we last talked?
Wow. Yes, I had not thought of that long ago until you just referenced that, but
I know.
Life is going well. Can't complain. And, we just continue to look forward for more multifamily opportunities, and glad to be back building into Kylie's life and anybody else, others as well.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit about your background and what got you into multifamily.
Randy Langenderfer, Houston, Texas is where I reside these days. Mm-hmm. The quick elevator speech is I got into multifamily when I came to Houston after being a single family hard money lender and never really looked back. I started out passively investing in other people's deals, planning my exit from the corporate world to do this full time. Did my first GP deal in 2018. Fast forward to today, I'm in about 1,500 doors as a GP and probably, several thousand as an LP. I still invest in other people's deals and will continue to be an investor. And the other exciting news on my side is I just stepped away from the corporate world at the end of March and doing this full time and enjoying it immensely.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Awesome. What was your corporate job?
I was the vice president of corporate compliance and privacy and cybersecurity at Baylor College of Medicine here in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And one of those thankless jobs that nobody wants to do, but it paid me good. So
are you a Baylor football fan, by the way?
I am not.
Okay.
Baylor College of Medicine is not associated with Baylor University.
Oh, okay.
Other than history.
All right. Good. Because, I'm a Utah grad and Utah just beat Baylor last weekend. So I don't have to rub it in, that's takes a little bit of the fun away though, but
go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, congratulations on leaving, the corporate job. I think that's what most people who are getting into real estate or getting into multifamily are trying to do. So awesome. That's awesome. So let's see, corporate job from March. How's your life been since? How have things been different since you left that job?
Well, somebody asked me, what are you going to do day one, Randy? What are you going to do day one? And so I was kind of planning this exodus, like I said, when I first came to Houston 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so the difference really hasn't been much. I come to work every day, and I'm working out of my home now versus a corporate office, but I still work. I want to work. I want to be busy. I don't want to, I love golf, but I don't want to play it 2 or 3 times a week. And so my idea of retirement, I'm doing what I want to do. That's my idea of retirement. I'm doing what I want to do. And I didn't retire. I said, I'm just changing directions.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel the same. I mean, I left a job about 2 years ago. Yeah. Military. So technically it is a retirement, but, it comes with a pension that helps out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, my commute now, I think there's 28 stairs between my bedroom and my office. And, so it is nice. Yeah. And I mean, the problems that I'm trying to solve are, problems that I choose to solve, problems that I've, worked myself into. So much different lifestyle. It's nice.
And I say, I'm not working for the man, I'm working for this man now versus some other man that found it for me. So
that sure is nice, knowing that 100% of your profits, come to you. So woo. Yeah. So that's awesome. Well, once again, congratulations, and walk us through kind of how you got to that point. I know you said you started hard money lending, single family into multifamily. Let's talk about how that journey went.
So my journey started, like I said, actually about probably 12, 13 years ago, when I really through the Great Recession of 2008, 2009, and I was working for a private equity company in Ohio, Akron, Ohio, to be specific. And I realized that job wasn't going to last forever. And I had been in a good position, senior position. I was making good money. And I realized I really needed to find another alternative source of income. That I just was no longer willing to rely upon the corporate gig forever. And so I started searching. I mentioned I got involved in single family hard money lending with a brother-in-law. And we did that, and I came to Houston and I found another job at Baylor, and I did a couple flips here, single family flips with a hard money lender, but it was a lot of work. It's just a lot of work to build up any leverage and scale, as you know. Yeah. And so when I found multifamily, the thing that was the aha moment for me, Brian, about multifamily was, I'm not rich, but I had accumulated a few assets and, pensions and that stuff. And I didn't really want to jeopardize it signing a recourse loan. And when I learned I can buy a multi-million-dollar asset on a non-recourse loan, that was just for a finance guy at heart, that's just huge. Your risk is greatly limited. Your upside is much better. And so that's when I really started digging in and said, this is something I want to learn more about. Went to Lifestyles here in Houston, was there for about a little bit, probably 6 months or so. Ended up transitioning to Brad Sumrock's group in Dallas, Texas for about 3 years. Learned a tremendous amount, met a lot of great people, learned the business, and started to build a team. Got tired of commuting from Houston to Dallas. And so I ended up about a couple of years ago, I joined Rod Khalif's group, and I'm a coach in his mastermind today for Rod Khalif. And so I've seen a lot of different models, and I think I've tried to pick the best from all of them. And today I'm, trying to trying to find deals and trying to find investors that come alongside of you. So that's where I spend the majority of my day.
That's the name of the game. I mean, the non-recourse loan thing is mind blowing, but you add that to the syndication model where you're using other people's money to do it. I mean, I think most syndicators are investing, some of their dollars in their own deals, of course, but, largely you're using other people's money. So you're buying a large asset, other people's money, you get a loan. And I mean, it's so much easier from that aspect than plotting through single family, like a lot of people did.
And I had been looking at buying small businesses, either franchised or other small businesses to earn a living. And it was just all the same thing. You were going to have to sign personally on a personal note saying that, if you default, they're going to come after your cars and your house and everything else.
That's not fun. Not fun at all. So, well, awesome. Well, let's talk about one of the deals you've been in. Give us an idea. Pick your first, your favorite, your most recent, whichever one you want to talk about, and give us a little bit of flavor. What kind of deals you're in and what you do.
So I have focused on in recent years. I'm in, I think, six different properties. One's closing next month, ranging in size from 60 units to a portfolio that we're doing here in Houston, 666 doors.
Nice.
Huge. I'm just one of the GPs on that too. But the one I would highlight is two. The first one I ever did was 139 doors in Beaumont, Texas, called Longfellow Apartments. 139 doors, everything they tell you not to do. A flat roof, chiller boiler system. And I remember I had a mentor going, Randy, don't do it.
Yep.
And I was stubborn and wanted to do a deal, so I did it. I'll give you the extreme Reader's Digest version. 2 months into it, we had a fire that took out 124 units. I'm sorry, 24 units. 24 units.
Wow.
Took out 24 units. Ended up having to fire the property management company and find another one. And in the interim, I was really acting as kind of the regional manager, doing probably 15, 20 hours a week worth of work and looking at maintenance reports and looking at leasing rates and comps. And it was a real unfortunate place to be in, but we worked our way out of it. And 21 months later, we doubled investors' money. So it had a very positive ending, happy to say.
Yeah.
And then the other one was kind of the one we did last year. That was a Class C. It was that one in Beaumont was a 1965 build. And fast forward to one we did last year here in Houston, Texas, was a 60 unit Class A, built in 2018. And kind of the other end of the stream. Got together some partners here, and we put a syndication together and took it down and trying to operate it. And I am thoroughly convinced that the smaller properties are the more challenging. And I tell my coaching students that, it's as much work to buy a 20 unit as it is a 200 unit. And you know that.
Oh yeah.
But that is true in the 60 unit. We're just spending a lot of time on it. It's fine. It's going to be okay. But it's just the economies of scale just aren't there.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I talk with a lot of people, in Kylie's position. I mean, this is episode 450 something. So there's been about 450 something people in that seat, but I think it's better may not be the right word. It's easier as a syndicator to start at that 20 to 40 unit level. But I think most people try to graduate and get out of that space as quickly as they can.
And I think that's the comfort zone, and just people think that it's less risk and easier to do. But I believe it's probably more of your hands-on time as a syndicator or the owner. I would encourage people to start co-venturing or joint venturing with somebody on a larger unit to dip their toes in the water. But we'll get through that with Kylie here in a little bit. But that's up to her and how she does.
Different, lots of different philosophies on how to start. I think the most important thing is that you just start. I think that's it. But well, cool. So now I want to talk a little bit about why you're doing what you're doing. So what would you say your why is?
Well, I'll tell you, after leaving the corporate world, and I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I don't have to do this. I choose to do it, and I'm blessed to be in that position. But one, I just really like it, and my why today is just simply, I can say that it's very genuine when I say it's giving back to the new people coming into the industry. And I've told my children, whatever I make is not going to inherit it to them. They're going to get a portion of it, but a vast majority of it is going to go to several charities that I have picked out that I really want to support. And that's really my why. I think I've been blessed with some the skills of administrative duty and administration. And so I just want to give it back and hopefully make the world a little bit better place as a result.
Nice. Yeah. Make the world a better place. I love that idea. So
maybe just a small inch of it, but we're trying anyhow.
Yeah, and I mean that's one thing about multifamily is you can touch so many people's lives if you do things right. So one of our company's core values is to help people live better lives. And if we can come in and manage an apartment building well, and make sure it's safe and clean and affordable, I mean, we're helping people live better lives. And we look at our investors the same way. We're bringing investors in and we're giving them returns on their money, and at the same time helping them live better lives. So I think this is a great business to be able to make an impact and leave the world a better place. Even if it's just by renovating an apartment complex. Congratulations, you've made the world a better place. So awesome. So last question, and Randy, it's a fun one. What's next for you?
Yeah, what's next for me is just keep on keeping on. I'm currently in a situation of how much do I really want to grow this business and how much time do I really want to spend at it. And I would tell you that I don't have the solution for that yet. But what I'm trying to do is really build out. I'm the type of person that I don't want to, I've done in the corporate world, had large teams working for me and with me. I don't want to do that here. I have virtual employees today. And I'm really trying to grow that out. Virtual assistant, a person that does underwriting for me and other things. And I'm trying to get one of my kids involved in the business. And so far they don't have any interest, but we'll see where that goes. And so what's next is just keep on keeping on. And when I get figured out how far I want to go, then I'll either go full blast or I'll pause. And I don't see me pausing, but I don't know if I want to get to.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I'm sure eventually it'll happen, but I don't see it happening anytime soon where I wake up one morning and think, I don't want to do this anymore, but it will happen. I'm sure it's probably good, 15, 20 years from now, but we'll see. We'll see.
I don't want to work 60 hours a week anymore.
Oh, no.
I know that if I work 30 hours a week, I'm happy as a pig in mud with that. And
30-hour work week. Great thing. Awesome. Well, we're going to switch gears a little bit and bring Kylie on. So Kylie, how's it going?
Great. Thank you so much for having me here. It's fantastic.
Awesome. Well, do us a favor. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Montana and then moved to the Pacific Northwest shortly out of high school. I jumped into sort of the healthcare field, and that's where I really discovered my true passion for helping other people and individuals. Really just became an advocate, not only just for my clients, but for employees in general. And that's really what led me into corporate life, which is HR for me, is I have always wanted to really help on a culture basis. I think so many companies, it's really hard to go from, bottom up or outside in. And in order to change a culture and to help impact clients, customers, employees, it really came down to having a employee-centric culture. So that's really where my passion has been, is really just helping individuals. And that's how I sort of wound up in the multifamily space, is through COVID. I think everyone has this pivotal moment of, do we stay? Do we go? Is there something bigger for us? And I was very much one of those people that I knew there was more out there for me, and how else can I help people on a bigger level? And so through that discovery, I realized all the alternatives to 401ks and things like that, which just sort of blew my mind. And being on the HR side and not seeing those be represented to employers and employees was a big thing. So my passion just sort of switched gears on helping people in a different level on a bigger space, which then results in helping people with their lives and their homes. And that's sort of my background on how I got here.
Nice.
So
awesome. Awesome. So from HR, plugging the 401ks to realizing, wait a sec, we're kind of missing something. Yeah. So awesome. So how about this? What's your why? Why are you doing all this?
Yeah, I mean, I think my why, it goes with a lot of people of you really want that generational wealth and really being able to provide for your families and things like that. And I'd read this book one day, and it was, what smart people or what dumb things smart people do with money. And it made this comment of, are you prepared to take care of your parents? Are you relying on them to be prepared or not? And that was such a pivotal moment to me, like, oh my gosh, I'm not prepared. I don't think they're prepared. So that was sort of my why there. And then discovering that 401k thing and realizing that I could help provide a better future for people and provide a brighter retirement future. I don't think people think about it until all of a sudden it's almost here. And then it's, oh my gosh, I don't have what it is. What do I do? And my goal is truly just to help people get there before then, so that they can have a better retirement. And that is truly my goal, is just to help people in that space and envision a better life.
Yeah. I think some of the realizations you've had, I think a lot of people in this space have had the same things. Is, the 401k is nice, but it doesn't work for everybody. I mean, there's limits to how much you can put in, and there's limits to where you can put it and all that other fun stuff. And when you really look at it, it leaves a lot to be desired. So anyway, I love this space, and I, same thing, love helping people either make a more comfortable retirement or whatever their investing goals are. So
absolutely. Yeah. And that's one of my things too, is like, if they don't want to invest with us, that's okay. Like, I want to help. What is best for you? Like, that is my goal. It's literally like, let's set you up for your success. And I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, cool. We're going to do our best to help you out over the next, 20 or so minutes. So, Kylie, we got Randy on the line. What do you want to ask?
Yeah. So Randy, you mentioned that you've been LP and GP on a number of deals. What kind of GP are you in those deals? What do you focus on?
Great question. First, I just want to congratulate you for having what I would call just a personal moment there to get outside of the corporate world at a much earlier age. I wish I would have done that, quite honestly, and especially as an HR professional. And when I learned about the self-directed IRA and how I could move money around in there, that was another aha moment for me. That wow, this is just another whole venue of opportunity.
Absolutely.
But to your specific question, what kind of a GP am I? I would say I'm a little bit of everything. I am, I'll say, a primary. I'm a KP. I'm a fundraiser on different projects, and so it just really one I've been the KP and signed personally on the note on, which is something I said I'd never do. That took away the recourse. It was partial recourse, but again, it was just having comfort with my partner. So it just depends on the opportunity and how I can add value to the team. And when I learned I didn't have to be everything, I didn't have to be the person that identified the property. I didn't have to be the person that raised the money, find the property management company, get the insurance, find the tax accountant to prepare the K-1s, et cetera, et cetera. It fit my personality much more better than I no longer want to do it all. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a realization. I think that's awesome. I mean, you don't have to do everything on a property. You find a niche, you find a role, you find something that you're good at, and you rinse and repeat. You figure out how to be valuable to other people who are either putting the deals together, or you put the deal together yourself and find people that can add value to you. But you don't have to do all and play every role in the syndication. So good point.
I love that. Yeah. So when you fundraise or when you do investor relations, what is your focus on when you do that? Do you have a primary way that you like to connect with your investors?
I'm probably not the capital raising coach. I do capital raising. I have done capital raising. I think I'm fairly good at it, but I really try to make it a personal thing. So I think people that invest with Randy have followed me. We've talked and we've built a relationship. Truly, I'm not one of the mass guys, and not one of the. I do send out a monthly newsletter to my investment list. I have a large number of repeat investors that have come alongside and that have made it, I won't say easy, but somewhat easier. And then each opportunity, I try to find 3 or 5 new investors, to join it. And it's just a multiplication thing. And I think it's important, so on those properties where you ask me what kind of a GP I am, sometimes I'm the one drafting the monthly newsletter. Sometimes I'm taking what somebody else drafted and modifying it to what I want to tell the investors that are in it that I've brought into the deal. And so it really varies. And you find different people's skill sets too. Some people, I think, my personal bias is some newsletters are just not newsletters, but property newsletters are just way too long. And maybe it's because I'm a finance accounting person at heart that give me the executive summary, and I'll ask questions if I've got them after that. So, but you got some investors who really want to know the down and dirty, and they call me and they talk, quarterly about where we're at on the different properties and what's news, and that's fine as well.
Awesome. I love that. Awesome. And when you're sort of connecting with them, do you guys use a CRM, like a specific CRM that you're using that sort of really helps manage that? I know you mentioned that you do a lot of virtual assistants. Is that one of those tasks that they manage?
Well, I've just changed virtual assistants recently. So I use Active Campaign. That's just one of them. There are many others. I know Brian would tell you HubSpot's a really big name out there too in this space. It was a little too expensive for me at the time, but I know it has greater functionality. But I like Active Campaign. My virtual assistant, I have not yet gotten her into the Active Campaign CRM, but that's down the road. So I'm trying to outsource all. She right now is doing all my social media for me. So we're developing a calendar, an annual calendar for the next 52 weeks of 2 or 3 posts a week. For the next 52 weeks, And so a calendar that and a repository so that we can refurbish some and redo these again in another year or add to them and continue to go forth. So, and then I have another VA that's really working on, there's a trend here. Randy doesn't like to write. I'm having a VA really kind of put together. I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now, the monthly newsletter, and another VA that will go out and put out the monthly newsletter as well as a weekly blast to the investor list. So I want to focus on doing deals and talking to investors is really why I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's thinking smarter, not harder, is what I sort of say to that.
Yeah, but it is. But you've been in the corporate world, Brian has too, and armed services, and it's about process. So I'm the kind of guy that I need to do it and understand it before I can delegate it to somebody. So I've done the social media posts, Facebook, LinkedIn, and I've done that stuff, but it's just not what I enjoy per se.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm outsourcing that.
Yeah. I'll make two comments on that. Randy mentioned the military, and I thought there was a couple of year period where I was what a lot of people would call a chief of staff, where I was in charge of the staff, and I used to tell everybody I don't work. Okay. And what I meant, because a lot of people would come to me with their problems and expect me to, do stuff, and it was like, no, that's not my job. I don't work. Right. And we tried to get that message across, and, our role was to make sure that everybody else was working and the machine was going. We were lubricating the machine, but our job wasn't to do the work itself, but and I look at what I do with multifamily in a very similar aspect, where there are things that I'm really good at. Okay. And those are the things that I should be doing. Okay. If it's something that I'm not very good at, that's where I start looking to outsource things. Randy says he's not good at writing, so he's outsourcing that. I actually enjoy writing, so I don't outsource that. All right. I don't outsource my content because I like doing it. But there's tons of things that I don't like doing at all. And that's the stuff that, where we hire the VAs. Okay. That's the stuff where, now I'm at the point where I have employees that are working for me. But, it starts out with, looking at everything that's on my plate and saying, okay, here's the stuff that I'm keeping because I really like doing it. That's my highest and best. And here's the stuff that I'm terrible at. Let's find somebody to do that. Right. And so that's the approach that I've taken to it. And I want to get to the point to where, I'm the chief of staff again, and it's like, I don't work. Okay. I have all of you guys. Yeah. I don't work. I mean, I still work, but I don't do their jobs for them.
No, that's a great analogy. I actually hadn't thought about that as a chief of staff, and that was what your job would be. So that's a really, really great way to put it. Awesome. So another question I had for you, Randy, is how do you handle due diligence when it comes to finding properties?
That's a good one. I said there was no tough questions though, Kylie.
I know, I'm sorry.
Due diligence is obviously specific to each property, right? And I think the comment I would send, first of all, is you want to rely and make sure you have before you ever get the LOI out or the PSAs obviously written, is to make sure you have a great property management company that you're comfortable with, and you're going to rely heavily upon them to help you get the due diligence done. I try to have them bring in the vendors, the roofers, the HVAC, the electrical, the plumbing people, to somebody they're going to be working with or somebody they recommend. They're obviously going to do the lease audit on a per unit basis. And then depending upon what the specific one is, if we're going to have contractors come in to look at repairs or renovations, we're going to do renovations. If we know we're going to build carports or something like that, that we're certainly going to have that out there as soon as possible. And so, yeah, you want to do every unit for sure. Yeah. You want to walk every unit. You want to make sure you have somebody get up on the roofs. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure you have somebody scope the plumbing lines, mm-hmm. and at a bare bones minimum. And what else am I missing, Brian? I can't think off the top of my head.
All the systems really, and if you're in Houston on old properties where you have boilers and chillers, yeah, you want to have somebody touch that stuff too. So, I mean, I'll say the same thing that I just finished saying is I am not the person that can get up on top of a roof and tell you what's wrong. Okay. If it's really messed up, I can point it out to you, but I'm not the person that can look at plumbing or electrical or anything like that to tell you that it's wrong. So when we're doing due diligence, we make sure we have those people with us. All right. And we make sure that, they're going to write reports up for us. They're going to do a thorough inspection, and a lot of the people that come out with us are doing it for free because they're hoping to get, the work from it later on. But one thing we do is we offer to pay them. We always offer to pay them, and it's like, hey, this is something that we're doing. We're doing due diligence on the property. But yeah, we make sure that we have every system checked, electrical and plumbing. And if there's a fire system, we have somebody come out and check that, check the roofs, check the, like I said, if there's a big boiler or chiller or something like that, we have somebody who's checking all that stuff out too.
I love
And I
it.
think you hit that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kylie.
Yeah.
It's just that relationship thing with, you're not looking for a freebie, but you're looking for a relationship with somebody that you can put on your vendor list or in your CRM for the future. And especially if you're in a new market, if you're in an existing market where it's a different story, but you really want those relationships.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And then I guess one other question that I did have is when you're dealing with challenges, what are some ways that you sort of break yourself or sort of handle those challenges when, unexpected things arise that, happens all the time? So.
Yeah, that's a loaded question, but it's a good
It
loaded
is.
question. That's fine. I think it goes back to the team. First of all, I would say is the projects I'm in, I have partners in all of them, and I don't want to, like we talked about, I don't want to or have to know everything, but I think going into the partnerships to clearly define your roles with your fellow partners as to who's going to do asset management, who's going to do construction, who's going to do finances, et cetera, et cetera. And so depending upon the problem, it's most likely going to fall under an asset management category sometime. And they're always going to be involved, but you're first of all, rely upon your partners. And then I think the other thing is to realize as a finance person that a pro forma is just a projection. You have a personal budget, you never hit it to the penny ever. And a pro forma is rarely ever met to the penny. You hope it's within 10% or something. That'd be a very good investment. But recognizing that problems are going to occur, whether it be, nobody predicted COVID. Nobody predicted the interest rate rises that occurred in the last year, 300 basis points or 350 basis points, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So crap happens and you just have to kind of deal with it. And I bet you that 60 unit property my partner and I bought, and, we're having a powwow Saturday morning to kind of hammer out some next steps and how are we gonna motor through this and make it happen. So I think it also is, but the thing for me there is really make sure your partners. Rod, my mentor, says, partnerships are like a marriage. They're easy to get into, but expensive and painful to get out of.
Yeah.
So make sure your partners, and I got a list of questions and things you can talk about offline with your partners. If you can contact me offline, I'm happy to do that.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's a key element for me is know your partners. And then it's a commitment to, I've also had partners that when tough times hit, I mentioned that Longfellow property. I was like, where are you? So you learned a lot about people's character in difficult times, partners specifically, and, people that I would never want to work with again, and others that I'd go to the wall for because they were there in difficult times. So,
so great answers. A couple of things that I was thinking of, and this is the best part about going second is, I can, sit here and think about what my response is going to be. Maybe I had to flip the format where I go first and let the guest, have time to think about it. But having people to go to, a lot of this is problem solving is all it is, and if you're good at problem solving, a lot of the asset management stuff that's all it is. It's problem solving. A problem comes up, you solve it. And then unfortunately, things don't stay fixed, but I would encourage everybody to be in different masterminds, or different groups, I'm in a couple of groups myself where there are other operators, that some of them are at a higher level, some of them are at a lower level. But when you come up with that problem that doesn't have the easy solution, you have somebody to ask, so, whether for you that's a coach or a mentor or a mastermind or a group, have somebody that you have a good relationship with that you can pick up the phone and, if it's one of the harder questions, have somebody there that you can ask. I mean, some of the problems and questions are easy. We had a sewer line scoped recently, and they said, hey, it's bellying out and you're going to have issues with it all the time. And, that's an easy solution. It's a $40,000 solution, but it's an easy solution. Doesn't take a lot of thought, but there are some other ones that you are going to have to reach out and, have that lifeline.
Absolutely.
It's a good illustration of a lifeline. And I'm sure you've heard Kylie, everybody says this is a team sport, and it is. In those troubled times, it's a team sport to have a vendor list of roofers, contractors, whatever you need done to the property, and contacts to be able to reach out to, as you said, either in your specific network of meetups and masterminds, or the broader network across the industry.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. Well, we are about out of time. So I'm going to throw out one question for each of you. Randy, you get to go first. How can investors learn more about you? Listeners, not investors, but investors too. Yeah. How can people learn more about you? How about that one?
Say investors are okay, Brian.
Yeah. Investors, if you're investors,
are okay.
Yeah, you too.
The short answer is one. I just want to thank you again for being on, and it's a pleasure. And Kylie, it's a pleasure to get to meet you. And the easiest way to get me is I'm on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook. I do have a web page as well with a contact. We'll put it in the show notes. invest-ark.com. invest-ark.com. Love to chat with you about anything multifamily or investments.
Awesome. We'll make sure we have a link to that in the show notes. And Kylie, same question for you. How can people learn more about you, investors and listeners alike?
Yeah. I also just want to say thanks for letting me be on here. It was a pleasure to talk with both of you. It has just been awesome. But how to get a hold of me is I'm also on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can look me up as Kylie Egan. And then I do have our website, which is rrcapinvestments.com, which we can also throw in the show notes. And that is to our website. We do have a company, Rhino Ridge Capital Investments, that we would love to talk to anyone and everyone about their investment journey, 401ks, alternatives, and things like that.
Awesome. And yeah, we will put that in the show notes, and listeners, investors, anybody, head down there. If you're on your phone, it's really easy. You tap, you swipe, and you tap, and you'll be whisked away to their websites. So
love it.
Whisked away to the websites. That's even an alliteration too. Wow. All right. Well, hey guys, my turn to say thank you. Thanks so much for coming on the show today. Very much appreciate your time and the value you guys have added.
Yes. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Hey, if you like that episode, make sure to subscribe. But more importantly, if you haven't joined our multifamily educational community yet, which we call the Tribe of Titans, you are missing out. Get 30 days free by clicking the link in the description to this episode, or go to thetribeoftitans.info, and we'll see you there.